Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski utterly unraveled after Friday's practice, unleashing a ferocious and unprecedented tirade against fifth-round sensation Shedeur Sanders. The volcanic clash reportedly climaxed with Stefanski roaring three soul-piercing words that instantly shattered the fragile stability of Cleveland's locker room. Make no mistake, this was far beyond the realm of routine coach-player friction. This wasn't just a momentary flare of temper, it was a flashing red signal of organizational collapse. For those tracking the Browns' quarterback controversy since draft night, this eruption provided the very spectacle they've anticipated. Anyone who has monitored the widening rift between old-school coaching dominance and modern player empowerment knows this incident is must-see drama. The flashpoint occurred immediately after practice, like when Sanders calmly approached Stefanski at midfield. Multiple sources described the rookie quarterback as measured and professional, respectfully questioning why Dylan Gabriel continued to receive substantial first-team reps despite Sanders' superior preseason output. Sanders referenced hard data, completion percentages, touchdown to interception ratios, quarterback rating margins. He wasn't demanding a crown, he was requesting clarity. That's when Stefanski's composure imploded spectacularly. According to insiders, his fury far exceeded normal sideline intensity. His bellow thundered across the practice fields, echoing into the ears of trainers, equipment managers, and staff. "Nobody is above this team! Not you! Not anyone!" Stefanski allegedly roared, jabbing a finger into Sanders' chest. When Sanders quietly replied, "I'm just asking for fairness, coach," Stefanski snapped entirely, face flushed, veins bulging, before shrieking the infamous ultimatum, "Leave if you want." Nobody's stopping you. The aftermath was chilling. A suffocating silence descended upon the facility. Veterans froze mid-conversation. Rookies stared at the ground. Offensive coordinator Alex Van Pelt rushed in to separate them. Defensive captain Myles Garrett reportedly placed a steadying hand on Sanders' shoulder, guiding him toward the locker room. Meanwhile, GM Andrew Berry sprinted from the observation deck in a frantic attempt to contain the chaos. Sanders' response? Remarkable restraint. No yelling, no retaliation, just a deliberate walk to the exit. He skipped the showers, skipped the uniform change, skipped mandatory media duties. One lineman whispered, "That's when we knew it was different." Stars don't just walk away, but the deeper fissure lies in Cleveland's power structure. Stefanski embodies traditional authority. 4 years at the helm, a playoff berth, a Coach of the Year award. His mantra, earn everything through practice, study, and leadership. Sanders' fast-track descent, however, was preordained from ownership, with Jimmy Haslam publicly anointing him on draft night. Stefanski is caught in a tug-of-war, his meritocracy eroded by external pressures, and a front office eager for immediate transformation. This wasn't a spontaneous outburst. It was the inevitable collision of incompatible philosophies. Stefanski's old-world doctrine clashing with a new reality of player-driven franchises. And make no mistake, this saga has teeth because Sanders has delivered on the field. His preseason stat line sparkles. 73% completion rate, 6 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, multiple game-winning drives. His arm talent is undeniable, igniting explosive plays that electrify First Energy Stadium. Meanwhile, Gabriel's production pales by comparison.
Respectable yet uninspiring, a 64% completion rate for touchdowns and to interceptions are conservative approach that minimized mistakes but simultaneously suppressed upside. Statistically, the comparison tilts heavily in Sanders' favor, yet beyond raw numbers, practice reports uncover deeper dynamics. Sanders is said to dominate competitive drills, threading passes through impossibly narrow windows, extending plays with rare mobility, and displaying unshakable composure under pressure. Defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz allegedly told his assistants, "This kid is different too, can't replicate what he brings." Meanwhile, Gabriel executes efficiently within structure, but lacks the transcendent qualities that separate the good from the extraordinary. Coaches commend his preparation, professionalism, and command of the system, yet football ultimately rewards sheer talent over tenure. Veteran insights add further context. The locker room is reportedly fractured between traditionalists who value hierarchy and development, and younger players who believe performance should dictate opportunity. One Pro Bowl defender was quoted privately, "Best player should play, period." This isn't complicated. Social media erupted instantly. #Shedeur trended nationwide within hours. Browns fans flooded Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok with impassioned takes. Sanders supporters demanded Stefanski's firing, while Gabriel's backers called for patience and respect for process. National analysts swarmed the situation like vultures, offering hot takes based on grainy practice clips. ESPN devoted entire segments to decoding body language. The discourse turned toxic, mirroring the organization's dysfunction. Ownership's silence was deafening. Jimmy Haslam, normally quick to seize control of the narrative, remained mute. Insiders whispered about frantic internal meetings debating drastic options. Fire Stefanski but force reconciliation behind closed doors. Trade Gabriel to clear the path, or let the storm burn out. Each path carried dangerous consequences for organizational credibility. By midweek, the tension was unbearable. Wednesday's practice became must-watch theater. Would Sanders show up? How would Stefanski address the team? Could fractured trust be repaired before week 1? Cameras camped outside the facility. National reporters booked flights, and ex-players offered unsolicited advice. The ecosystem of dysfunction fed itself. Sanders' camp maintained calculated silence, his agent reportedly fielding inquiries from intrigued franchises monitoring the chaos. Despite being a fifth-round pick, Sanders held leverage his performance, charisma, and star potential, elevating him beyond the usual rookie profile. If Cleveland's dysfunction persisted, a trade request was plausible. The fallout of losing him after public endorsement would be catastrophic. Stefanski, meanwhile, stood on a knife's edge. Yielding would make him appear weak, forfeiting locker room respect. Standing firm risked alienating ownership, fracturing the roster, and sabotaging the season before it began. His philosophy of accountability, fairness, and consistency was being shredded by external pressures. Tuesday's explosion was the breaking point where frustration drowned judgment. Amid the storm, Dillon Gabriel's subplot deserves mention. The third-round pick has conducted himself like a consummate professional, arriving early, mastering the playbook, and executing with precision. His dedication is unquestionable, but he knows the math. Sanders possesses superior arm talent, mobility, and star power. Gabriel is steady, Sanders is electrifying. That distinction is the line between mediocrity and championship aspiration. This crisis permanently alters the Browns' internal dynamics. Trust between staff and front office erodes. Players question leadership stability. Media scrutiny intensifies. Fans clamor for resolution. For years of culture building under Stefanski threatens to collapse in a single afternoon. Rebuilding will require extraordinary leadership, transparent communication, and unified direction, none of which Cleveland currently exhibits. The implications extend beyond Ohio. Every NFL franchise is watching, treating this debacle as a cautionary Tail, ownership meddling erodes coaching authority. Media storms warp personnel decisions. Rising stars wield unprecedented leverage against old hierarchies. Cleveland has become the NFL's live experiment in modern power dynamics, and the league is quietly relieved it isn't their circus. By Wednesday morning, anticipation was feverish. Reports confirmed Sanders arrived early, hitting the weight room, grinding through film, and joining quarterback meetings. His calm professionalism, the midst of chaos, impressed teammates, projecting maturity far beyond his rookie label. Stefanski now faced the defining crossroads of his coaching career. Before practice, Stefanski reportedly addressed the team, offering an apology for the public confrontation while simultaneously reaffirming the integrity of the evaluation process. His words attempted the impossible, striking a balance between accountability and reconciliation. What followed was less a routine practice and more a surreal theater. Media personnel, restricted to designated areas, documented every glance, gesture, and subtle exchange between Stefanski and Sanders. Both men maintained a professional distance, speaking through intermediaries when required. The quarterback rotation remained unchanged. Gabriel opened with the first-team reps, Sanders followed, and neither separated themselves dramatically. Players later described the atmosphere as funereal. Everyone sensed the gravity of the moment while pretending to conduct business as usual. Behind the scenes, damage control unfolded frantically. GM Andrew Berry held one-on-one meetings with veteran leaders to take the locker room's temperature and explore potential solutions. Offensive coordinator Alex Van Pelt assumed greater responsibility with the quarterbacks, serving as a buffer between coach and rookie. Meanwhile, owner Jimmy Haslam demanded daily updates, threatening direct involvement if the situation deteriorated. Further, outwardly, the organization projected composure, but beneath the surface, its foundation trembled. Timing only heightened the drama. The regular season loomed, and division rivals smelled blood. Baltimore's staff reportedly began tailoring defensive schemes to exploit Cleveland's quarterback uncertainty. Cincinnati anticipated easy wins against a fractured opponent. Pittsburgh reveled in the sight of a traditional rival imploding in real time. In the unforgiving AFC North, dysfunction is tantamount to surrender. National perception shifted overnight. Cleveland, once considered a legitimate playoff contender, morphed into a circus. Free agents rethought their interest. College prospects hoped to avoid hearing their name called by the Browns. Sponsors questioned brand alignment. Season ticket holders demanded answers. Years of painstaking reputation repair unraveled in a matter of days. The Sanders saga transcends a single quarterback evaluation. It embodies a generational clash reshaping professional sports. Old school coaches emphasize patience, development, and earning opportunity through gradual growth. Modern players expect transparency, meritocracy, and immediate reward for performance. Stefanski personifies the former philosophy Sanders embodies the latter. Their collision was inevitable, perhaps even destined, and its destructive potential was always present. Realistically, only a few scenarios remain. Scenario 1: Stefanski and Sanders forge authentic reconciliation, managing to coexist. Despite philosophical divides, the odds? Slim, given how public the fracture has become. Scenario 2: Sanders seizes the starting role through undeniable performance, forcing Stefanski to accept an ownership mandate. Possible, but at the cost of eroding the coach's credibility. Scenario 3: the franchise chooses between coach and quarterback. Someone exits, before Week 1. The probability of this outcome grows daily as dysfunction festers, yet beneath every schematic chart and statistical comparison lies the human element. Stefanski's frustration stems from a principled devotion to process, culture, and discipline, the very framework that built his success. Sanders, meanwhile, disrupts that structure not out of malice, but simply by existing as ownership's chosen heir. The coach fights an unwinnable battle against forces beyond his control. Sanders, too, deserves empathy. A fifth-round pick should have been afforded patience and gradual development. Instead, he was catapulted into a storm expected to fulfill ownership's vision while resisting a staff hesitant to embrace him. Every move scrutinized, every decision dissected, every action criticized. The pressure would shatter most rookies, yet Sanders has responded with remarkable composure. Veterans find themselves caught in the crossfire, torn between loyalty to a coach who forged stability and recognition of Sanders' undeniable talent. Their leadership will be decisive. Can they mediate the generational divide, or will they inevitably choose sides? Do they wield enough influence to prevent a complete organizational fracture? Meanwhile, the media machine churns relentlessly. Every press conference is dissected for hidden messages. Every frame of practice film analyzed like the Zapruder tape. Anonymous leaks provide contradictory narratives. Former players flood talk shows with simplistic solutions, oblivious to the complexity. Dysfunction fuels coverage. Coverage magnifies dysfunction. The loop perpetuates itself, trapping Cleveland in a destructive cycle. Contractual realities further complicate the picture. Stefanski's extension secures him through 2027, with a substantial buyout insulating him from hasty termination. Financial realities loom heavily over every possible resolution, extending far beyond the football field. The psychological chess match continues in quieter ways. Sanders has reportedly thrived in mental reps, demonstrating a sharp command of the playbook. His questions in meetings push boundaries, challenging convention and suggesting fresh, innovative approaches. Privately, Stefanski is said to acknowledge Sanders' football intellect, yet publicly he clings to his hardened stance, this duality respecting the talent while resenting the circumstances only deepens the fracture. Thursday delivered an unexpected twist. Haslam himself appeared at practice, observing the entire session and speaking individually with coaches, players, and staff. His presence alone screamed urgency. Sources claim he expressed disappointment over the public confrontation and demanded professionalism regardless of personal tension. The owner's intervention was a nuclear strike, undermining Stefanski's authority while admitting just how dire the crisis had become. League executives are circling, monitoring closely. If Sanders somehow became available, multiple franchises would pursue him aggressively. His unique blend of talent, marketability, and youth is a rare trifecta. On the other side, ambitious coaches watch Stefanski's plate, recognizing Cleveland's dysfunction could create a sudden opening. The vultures are patient, but they are circling. Even fantasy football and betting markets feel the ripple. Online forums are consumed with Sanders versus Gabriel debates. Draft strategies shift based on whispers of Cleveland's starter. Betting lines swing wildly with each rumor. Millions are financially and emotionally tethered to the outcome, proof that pro football now transcends wins and losses to operate as a full-scale entertainment empire. Friday arrived carrying suffocating tension. The final preseason game loomed. The organization could no longer hide behind ambiguity. Someone had to step forward, declare a starter, and accept the fallout. Diplomacy would no longer suffice. Either Stefanski reasserted full authority, or the owner's mandate prevailed without compromise. No middle ground remained. Behind closed doors, a summit was arranged. Haslam, Barry, Stefanski, and both quarterbacks. In attendance, it represented the final chance for compromise before irreparable collapse. The likely outcome: a choreographed PR display, polished statements about unity, competition, and alignment. The truth, however, was far uglier. Trust had evaporated, locker room chemistry was cracked. Public confidence eroded, rivals emboldened, sponsors unsettled. Season ticket holders furious. The Browns will need years to repair the wreckage from this single week. And all because coach and quarterback could not coexist. Cleveland fans deserve better than perpetual dysfunction. They've endured decades of instability, failed quarterbacks, revolving coaches, incompetent front offices. Stefanski's tenure had finally provided a glimpse of stability. Sanders' arrival promised electricity. Instead, the clash between old-school process and new-era empowerment dragged the franchise back into the abyss. The factory of sadness churns efficiently, manufacturing fresh disappointment for loyal supporters. As Sunday approaches with no resolution, speculation multiplies exponentially. Will Stefanski survive the power struggle? Can Sanders overcome coaching resistance? Does Gabriel become the trade casualty? Will Haslam seize control outright? These questions dominate not only Cleveland, but the national conversation. The Browns are no longer a playoff hopeful, they are reality TV. Entertainment value replacing competitive relevance. One league executive's words now feel prophetic. If Stefanski and Sanders don't get aligned quickly, chaos will consume the Browns. That chaos is here, spectacular and unrelenting. The confrontation between traditional coaching authority and modern player empowerment has exploded into the open, exposing the very fault lines that define today's NFL. Resolution remains distant. Relationships are fractured, trust is gone. The season hasn't even begun, yet dysfunction already overshadows everything. The Browns face an impossible decision, choosing between a proven head coach and a potential franchise savior. Either choice carries seismic consequences that will shape the team's trajectory for years. This is not a battle with winners only. Degrees of loss. And yet, the ultimate tragedy lies in the irony. Stefanski and Sanders share the same goal, delivering a championship to Cleveland. Their visions differ, but their destination is identical. Had they fused philosophies, old school discipline with next generation brilliance, Cleveland might have authored a season for the ages. Instead, ego, pride, and clashing ideologies fuel mutual destruction. Once again, the Browns sabotage themselves before opponents ever get the chance. That is the Cleveland way, transforming potential triumph into inevitable disaster. Thank you guys, see you next video.